Hello chess friends and welcome to the channel. At the St. Louis Rapid and Blitz, in the first 2 days of rapid play, Carlsen and Wesley Shaw were the most two consistent players in the group. But in round 7, Magnus Carlsen with the black pieces must play against the young Firouzja with white. A difficult opponent indeed, but another great game played by the world champion and a new fantastic game to study and watch together. Let's get started. Alireza Firouzja with the white pieces opens the game with d4 and Magnus Carlsen answers with knight to f6, c4, e6 and knight to c3, almost calling for the Nimzo-Indian that in fact here comes with bishop to b4 attacking and pinning the knight. We know that the main line for white is e3, the Rubinstein variation. Firouzja instead continues with f3. And what is the idea? The idea is to occupy the center with the e4 push, later to play a3 and to occupy the center and also gain the bishop pair. These lines beginning with f3 and a3 are both considered part of the Saemisch family because they often transpose. So this is the Saemisch Nimzo-Indian. After f3, Carlsen pushes in the center with d5, controlling this e4 square. And now a3. Bishop is under attack. Bishop captures on c3 with check. The b-pawn recapture. The first step of Firouzja's plan went good because white has the bishop pair, and the second step will be to try to conquer the center. And what to do for black? Black will attack these double pawns and will also counterattack in the center. So that's why in this position c5 is the most played move, because c5 is attacking the center, also opening this diagonal for the queen that can move to a5, attacking the backward of the two double pawns. Instead, Magnus Carlsen continues with c6 that only opens the diagonal for the queen, solidify the center. And what to play now for white? Now for white, the best idea is to develop the king side. e3, bishop to d3, knight to e2, and then we play. After c6, instead, Firouzja continues with a4, only 2 games in database, so not a much played line. We said only 2 games in database, but both won by black, with black that scores better than white. The most important one is the victory with the black pieces of the strong Lithuanian grandmaster Rosentalis. I don't know if you remember him, played in 1996. Now, what to play now for black? Rosentalis played short castle, that is the best move. Magnus Carlsen instead continues with queen to a5. Queen to a5, the idea is clear. The queen now is attacking the double pawns, is also threatening to capture with check, and so white must do something. But let's go back one move. Let's understand why short castle is just a bit better. Short castle played by Rosentalis is better because there is no rush to play queen to a5. In fact, white cannot push the pawn to a5, blocking the queen, because after a5 there is c5 attacking the center, but more than that, clearing the c6 square, then knight to c6 with the help of the queen. a5 becomes a target and black is already better than white. So that's why there is no rush to play queen to a5. Let's go back to our game, but anyway, Carlsen played queen to a5 and now queen to d2, protecting c3. Short castle for black, e3 finally comes, rook to e8 and now bishop to d3. Now in this position, with the bishop that just moved, Magnus Carlsen plays a common capture, that is d capture on c4, so to gain a tempo against the bishop that just moved. But this is an inaccuracy because in this position e5 looks stronger. Let's go back one move, let's briefly watch why. I think this move, this capture, was a sort of was played instantly, I think, because it's so common. Instead, e5 with the idea of e4 is really strong, because if white capture, there is the rook that recapture on the semi-open file with the king still in the center, and if not, If white doesn't capture, black will play e4, well protected, really gaining control of the center and a good space advantage here on the king side. Let's go back to our game. Instead, after bishop to d3, there is d captures on c4, gains a tempo against the bishop that recaptures on c4, and now b6, opening some lines for the light square bishop. Now this same bishop moves for the third time in a row, and this is really too much. Why not to play knight to e2? That is the most logic move. Because this bishop moved 3 times in a row. Here comes bishop to a6, and the idea, again, this Magnus Carlsen idea is logic, is to e-change a piece that just moved once with a piece that moved 3 times, gaining 2 tempi. So Firouzja doesn't allow that. He blocks the diagonal, advancing the pawn to c4. Now there is also a possible queen exchange, but Magnus Carlsen continues with c5. Firouzja should exchange the queens, but we will understand in a few seconds why he didn't make this exchange, and instead he played knight to e2, continuing his development. Let's go back one move. Queen captures on a5 is the best idea. After queen captures on a5, the b pawn will recapture. There is a damage in the structure, but we will understand that black will bypass this problem, gaining the initiative. Knight to e2 is the most logical continuation. Knight to c6, there is this terrible knight jump. Well, not terrible, this strong knight jump. Bishop to d2, rook in 8 goes to b8 first. This is really strong because the rook is controlling the b5. There is also the invasion. Then the second rook will move to the c5. Black will open 2 files with the 2 heavy pieces controlling them. The c4 square will go under attack, and at the right moment there is also the same knight jump to b4, and even if there is a damage in the structure, black surely got the initiative. So that's why Firouzja didn't play this queen exchange. But why to play it if black got the initiative? Because what happened in the game is even worse. So let's go back to our c5. We said best idea for white is to change the queen, but then black will gain the initiative. Even with the initiative, white can fight and can hold the game. Instead, here comes knight to e2. Knight to c6. Changing now the queens would be really worst, because black will recapture with the knight. So no damage to the structure and a very powerful knight, because c4 will go 2 times under attack, and there is this knight jump that will threaten the bishop and the rook. So here comes king to f2. Knight to b4, attacking the bishop. There is already an advantage for black because white is also a bit behind in development. So here comes bishop to b2. C captures on d4, opens the c file. The knight recapture on d4, and there is also the d file that was opened. Like in the game that, like in the previous game of Magnus Carlsen that we watched yesterday in the channel, now it's time for the rooks to come into play. Rook in 8 goes to d8, and now white must pay real attention because we notice that the bishop is 2 times under attack. Attacked by the knight, but also an X-ray attack by the rook. So e5 is coming, that will force the knight to move away, and the bishop will be lost. So white must do something. Bishop to c3, attacking and pinning the knight to the queen, but the knight can break the pin because there is the check. Knight captures on d3 with check, and the queen recaptures on d3. The black queen is under attack, but as usual, Magnus Carlsen finds a tempo move. The tempo move is queen to c5. Queen to c5, with the help of the bishop, is attacking c4, only defended by the queen. There is also another threat that is e5, even worse than before, because now the knight can't even move away because he's pinned to the queen. Too many threats, something will fall, the queen moves away, at least the knight is safe, but c4 will fall. Bishop captures on c4, and now the rook moves to d1. Knight to d5 improves the position of the knight that jumps forward to the center of the board. Bishop to d2, and here comes e5. The knight is under attack, jumps to f5, but after this jump, you notice that the pawn is now pinned, so this square that the pawn was defending is now clear, and this knight will keep jumping forward. Knight to f4, king to g3, unpins the pawn, and this knight is under attack, but the knight jumps even more forward. Knight to d3, well protected to the center of the board. The next threat will be to play e4 with the discovered attack against the knight, and then if white captures, the rook will come into play. So because e4 is coming, here comes queen to c3, but believe it or not, move 25, the game is already lost, because Magnus Carlsen finds the right simplification. The KO move is bishop back to e6. Bishop back to e6, attacking the unprotected knight. The queen is attacking the queen. This move will force a queen c change. Queen captures on c5. The black knight recaptures, and Firouzja resigns because he will lose material. But let's watch how black will win this game. It's quite simple, because now there is the knight that is under attack. So what to do with this knight? Or we move the knight away, or we protect the knight with e4. Seems to me that the most logical move is e4. The knight is protected, but here there is a bishop under attack, only protected by another piece. This is a tactical weakness. The simple bishop to b3 is attacking the defender, and material will be lost. In this case, the e-change will be lost, because the rook can't even move away attacking the attacking piece, because the attacking piece is also well defended. So better to lose the e-change than to lose an entire bishop. But this victory of material, of course, will win this endgame. Let's go back to our knight capture back the queen. If you don't protect the knight, if the knight moves back to h4, notice how bad is the position, because of course now bishop to b3 wins in the same fashion. But there is also g5 that will attack this trapped knight and will win the piece, and without the queens on the board, this weakness in the castle doesn't scare black. So another victory for Carlsen, another middle game lesson, this time given to the young Firouzja. I really hope that you liked the game, and if you did, please don't forget to like the video and to subscribe to the channel, and of course we will meet tomorrow with a new video. Goodbye!